So it's not for kids.
Rainy day here in sunny Boise, Idaho. Climate change is in full effect.
Could be.
I guess it rains in the spring. They call it June gloom in April.
June and gloom?
Is this what we've relegated ourselves to, talking about the weather? I shouldn't say we. I mean, I'm the one leading with this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're the one that started us off on this foot. I don't know why you're coming out with weather conversation.
Yeah.
You see the new Malcolm in the Middle revival?
I saw that it's coming.
It's not a remake. It's like literally a direct sequel to the show.
Ooh.
I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, for me, it's like yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
But real talk, though, it's like that show genuinely is like one of my favorite shows of all time for multiple reasons.
I really like it, too. We've been rewatching it in anticipation, and I feel like a lot of the episodes I watched when I was like too little, so it's like I'm watching them for the first time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Some of them are like way funnier than I remember. I think they hit better when you're an adult. One of them, though, didn't age well, but like, granted,
which
like
one?
The feeder one. It's like,
oh, that one is weird. That one is very
so weird. It feels like they phoned it in, first of all. Also, none of the plots resolve. They just kind of just like end. Because like Dewey is hearing voices of the baby.
Right.
And then it just ends. Like there's no explanation. They just do a final bit that ties in with Hal's line of him being a feeder for some reason and having like a fat fetish.
Yeah.
Not only is this like not appropriate, right? But on top of that, it doesn't go with his character. He's like a loving husband who does everything for his wife. And then all of a sudden he just is like fetishizing her and doing something against her will when she's actively said she doesn't want to do like this thing.
Okay, so the biggest issue, right, is the lack of consent. That is pretty fucked up on Hal's part, and I think that like in this day and age it plays really bad. But the idea that he's like that he would have like a sort of like fetishistic obsession with Lois, like almost no matter what she did, like that part I feel like works. It's just a weird, like it's a weird storyline to even
that's
do.
Where I thought it was going. Like, I love you no matter what. And I thought it was going to be like, you're really cranky when you're not eating, so I'm trying to make sure that you eat.
No, he's like blowing up like
no. He's like literally
cardiovascular system by like injecting butter into cookies. Like it's insane. The levels he goes to is nuts.
It's such a bizarre change of character of just like, now I don't care about your needs. It's about my needs. And I want to see you get fat. Like, it's just like so strange. I don't understand. Anyway.
Especially I feel like in post-gooning society, which is kind of where we're at now. That's the way I think of it. Like we're like goonies now.
I think that's how they're going to call it. Like, it's going to be like Anno Domini, and then it's going to be like PG, which is like post-goon. Yeah.
The beginning of Gooner society. So that also demarcates with the Minecraft movie. So I think it works out really well.
Yes, exactly. It's all tied. You see, we started with the weather, but we got back to our usual stride.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're just talking about gooning in Minecraft movie. That's the thing about all these revivals in general. The King of the Hill 2, which is also one of my favorite TV programs of all time. It's like seeing a reanimated corpse when like what you wanted was to go back in time.
Yeah, it's like Tupac hologram. Yeah,
like how Ariel was like, "Hey, I wish I could walk on land," and Ursula's like, "Granted, but you can't talk." You know what I mean? Like it's like the monkey paw thing.
I wish I could see Hank do all his funny stuff on that hill, and then they're like, "Yeah, but it's old now."
Right.
Yeah, this is gonna be one of my hottest takes. Prep yourself. Let's do a hot take on the positive side.
Okay.
I think that Matrix 4 is actually really good.
That is a hot take that I, having not seen it, don't disagree with. But what I know about it would lead me to believe that I would go watch it and be like, that is the second best Matrix movie.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
It is the second best Matrix movie. That is where I'm willing to put it.
Boom.
Because it's like, okay, how are you supposed to do a reboot of the Matrix? And the Wachowskis were just like, this is stupid. So Lana was just like, let's just make a self-aware Matrix where the whole premise is they're trying to reboot the Matrix and it's so stupid. Neo is like, what am I doing with my life? And then becomes Matrix again. So it's like great. And then there's action and it doesn't get up its own butt too much like number 3 did.
Right.
You know what? I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've heard. But so I should watch the whole damn series because for some reason I've only seen like the first one and the second one, and I think I watched the second one before I watched the first one.
You can skip 3. Well, nothing happens and it's bad, so it's like there's no reason.
What about the Animatrix?
Animatrix is great. You know what? Actually, it goes 1 Animatrix 4. There you go.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Yeah. Damn.
The Animatrix of the Runner, that has stuck with me from my childhood. It's like insane. I
got catching up to do. I got a lot of movies to watch all of a sudden between this and the other secret project.
Yeah. I still got to watch Whiplash. At least I watched There Will Be Blood.
Wild that you haven't seen Whiplash because I feel like
I've already seen it. You know. Well, welcome to Shelf Stable, a podcast celebrating board games that have stood the test of time. I'm your first host, Kenny Katayama,
and I'm the other host, Tom Bowers. Today, the featured topic is games that make you sound like you are doing something you shouldn't be, or something along those lines. But before we get into that, we'll explain what we mean, but not right now. Before we talk about that, we're just going to talk about stuff that we've been playing around with recently. Kenny, you want to lead us off?
Reminder, go nominate us for the Golden Geek. The link will be in the show notes. The Golden Geek nominations are open. It is the single best thing you can do to help us get to more people. There's not a lot that we have as goals, Tom and I, but one thing is we just want to make sure that people know we exist. It's not about the fame or the money. Not that there is any. It's
literally about the fame. That's like what you just said. Like,
no. That's what I'm saying.
We exist.
No, people knowing doesn't directly translate to fame, though.
Isn't that like almost like what it is?
No. It's like when you have something so good that you want to share it with people. That's not fame. That's like the craft. That's like the art, you know?
Well, speak for yourself. I want the fame and the money.
What I'm saying is like, I don't care about like being famous, you know? That's not something that gets my cock hard, you know? Like,
okay.
For me, it's about like, we have a voice and we want it to be heard. And like the reaction has always been like, oh, I thought this was going to be so mid, but you guys are actually really good. So it's like we have something. I want it to get more out there, you know?
What you're saying is that if our fans have not been lying to us this whole time, then they need to put the money where the mouth is and go nominate us on this shit because we deserve an award for working so hard to put this show together.
Okay, I don't want the award though.
Oh, we just need the nomination.
Yeah. Because the moment you get the award, you're not eligible to be nominated anymore. So my grand strategy is we get nominated every year and then we never win, but we're there every nomination. That's
actually kind of genius. Yeah, a perpetual nomination is actually better. I think you're onto something.
To be clear, okay, so if you're listening to this, nominate us for the Golden Geek. But if we do get nominated, do not vote for us.
For any other show, like Dan's show is out there.
Board Game Hot Takes.
No pun included.
No pun included. They have Talk Cardboard. I don't think they've won yet. Game Brain is really good. I don't know if Salt and Sass has won. This is the part where we talk about all the people who should actually win. But maybe they're following the same strat as us. Maybe they're like, we just want to stay nominated. We don't actually want to win. So I don't know.
It honestly sounds like there's more like nominees that are deserving of being nominated than us. Just given the list we rattled off.
Yeah. If you're an awesome podcast that I didn't just mention, just know that I'm thinking about you too. You just didn't come up in my head when I have to like check my podcast app now and make sure I'm not missing someone.
Link in the description for this episode. Go to the polls. Pokemon, go to the polls and nominate Shelf Stable for the Golden Geek.
All right, Tom. First game, Babylonia from 2019. Reiner, Knizia, publisher Ludonova. I've already talked about Babylonia. I got to play it again. There was like a semi-threat that I was going to trade this for Dark Pact. So we were like, we got to play it. But then the person who was trading it with me never got back to me. So, but it did kind of put things in perspective. I was like, do I love this game enough to decline a trade for Dark Pact? And the answer was no. So maybe I don't love this game as much as I do. But then I played it and I was like, maybe I shouldn't trade it for Dark Pact. And then the answer was, it doesn't matter because the person who was trading with me flaked. So
yeah.
But like I did have a moment at the altar where I was like, should I say no? Because I really enjoyed it. Like it's funny. Like the moment I stopped playing Babylonia, I'm like, it's just through the desert plus samurai. And then I played, I'm like, no, it definitely feels different.
It's so funny. As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, this is that game.
Yeah,
like whatever reason, this name does not stick for me. But as soon as you describe it again, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta play this fucking thing. Holy cow.
I don't think I'm the only one to have like mixed feelings about Babylonia. There's a lot of camps around Babylonia, I feel like. And I understand why, because when it's almost like a Schrodinger's cat situation where like when you are observing and playing the game, you feel differently than when you come out of the chamber. I just know that I have such a good experience when I'm playing it. And then when I come out, I'm like, it's good. It's not as good as blank.
Gotcha. No, that's
the experience of playing it is better than the experience of thinking about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I have the same experience with like, there's like certain movies or TV shows, I think, where I like think back on that film or that show and I'm like, oh, it's mid. And then I actually watch it. I'm like, oh, this is great. I feel like Wes Anderson has that effect on me a lot.
Yeah,
I think about Wes Anderson and I'm like, it's actually kind of dumb. And then I watch it again and I'm like, God, it's so good. What the fuck?
Yeah, you watch like Grand Budapest Hotel. You're like, this is too long.
Literally the opposite happened to me. Because like I went into Grand Budapest Hotel being like, it's a decent movie, but I'm ready to be like mildly bored. And then like this was like my third time watching it. And I was like, this movie is fucking like perfect. This is like a perfect film.
That was Babylonia from 2019. I feel like we barely talked about Babylonia.
No, I think people get the gist of it. It's samurai.
Samurai plus through the desert.
Through the desert. So it's like all of Reiner Knizia's like favorite things, which is like you can place a shit wherever you want. Your numbers have to be bigger than the other numbers. You can block people with certain like placements.
And various ways that interlock. Yeah.
And you're taking over the towers.
2019. All right, Tom. You got a big one here.
I got a big ass one. This one's Lisboa from 2017, almost 10 years ago. Designed by Vito Lacerda and published by Eagle-Gryphon Games. This is a big game. This is like the first, basically, in my efforts to play more Lacerda in my life. Prior to this, I think the only Lacerda that I'd played top to bottom was CO2 Second Chance. And I only played it solo. Lisboa, I played this at 3 players. And it is a game that is about the rebuilding of the city of Lisbon, which is in Portugal, if I'm not mistaken. The first thing you'll notice about this game is that it takes up all of the table. The second thing you'll notice is that it looks extremely blue. The third thing you'll notice is that it seems like it might be really dull Euro nonsense. And in a certain way, it is. But I really enjoyed this, and perhaps that's no surprise to people who know what other games I tend to enjoy. But let me break it down a little bit. So the things that I like about it most is that you get like rewarded broadly for just kind of doing all the things that you want to do. And you kind of feel like you can or get to do nearly everything. Primarily, there's a tension about being the first to get something done. And the other vibe with this that I really like is that a lot of the structures that you are erecting over the course of this game as you're rebuilding the city are public works projects. And I think thematically, I really enjoy the fact that you're building like parks at the edge of the downtown, essentially. Parks or like other civic structures that without those structures, the streets that all of your businesses run on are functionally worthless. And I just think that's like a neat design flavor, cool way to kind of like deliver that idea. The flaws of this game. Have you played this?
No, I've watched it played for a little bit, but that's about it.
This game has a couple of flaws. The first flaw is not even really a flaw of the game, but a flaw of, I think, the behavior that this game invokes, which is when people teach this game, and this is not me trying to call out the guy who taught me how to play it. I'm not calling him out explicitly because you do this too, and other teachers of other games do this, which is they go, oh, this is a big Euro game. This is a game where you achieve victory points. And everyone like basically quotes that ProZD video where he like made fun of Obsession or whatever. And it's like, yeah, like at the end of the day, it all is going to translate down into some kind of victory point track. I get that. But there's almost always actual flavor or intention or some idea that thematically ties it all together. And I think Lacerda, more than maybe some others, is like better at trying to invoke his themes through very crunchy, deterministic Euro.
I would agree with that.
Mechanics than others, and to gloss the theme in favor of just trying to explain the mechanics without theme, I think is a mistake that a lot of people make. And I think that there's like a kind of a culture that's inciting people doing this recently, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely part of the problem here.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like a self-aware, like I do undervalue the theme in teaching. And I've been trying to get better about like establishing where we are and relating that back to why a mechanism might work the way it does. So people can internalize it and also just pay attention to the teach. It's just not the way my brain naturally thinks. Like I'm just thinking about like this feeds into this mechanism is reminiscent of this thing in this other game. And like that naturally is the way that my words come out. But like, I think you're onto something here, like a call to action for all the deep board game heads to like take a pause and think about how they're selling it to their audience and the people that are around the table.
Yeah, and you're kind of even doing like the designer a bit of a disservice to some degree to think that you know better when they ultimately like made choices about the language that they wanted to use to express these mechanics and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be like, okay, it's just like this other mechanism in this game and blah, 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 or try and simplify it or reduce where it makes sense. But to like completely leave out the fact that what you are building are shops and you are a merchant and you are working with the king and the vizier and this other person and like how it all ties together thematically, I think especially with this game in particular is just, it highlighted it for me where it's like, no, like the theme carries a lot because without the theme, the game does look like something that desperately needs a flowchart, and Lacerda tried his damn best to like deliver an actual flowchart on your player board to help remind you what happens after the action you take on your turn.
There's probably some Ian O'Toole too, because I think people underglaze how much Ian contributes to the understandability of these big games.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Shout out Ian for this one. We should have him on the pod and be like, so what's it like working with Lacerda? Like, you know, like, does he just give you like a dossier that's like, I need 7,000 icons. And you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, there goes my, you know, this is almost like the biggest sort of like downside that it has is that it needs so much. It literally needs like an index to kind of explain itself. And I don't think it does a bad job at all because it always gives you literally a number in a personal player handbook where you can look up what that tile does. And it's something almost like Castles of Burgundy could use for those buildings.
Yes.
And so that same thing is happening here. And I appreciate the index. I just find it very funny that it literally has like tables of numbers with descriptions of what the ability does.
It's old school. It's like the action resolution tables in those hex encounter games.
And the funny thing about describing all this is that it makes it sound like it's a big chonkus game that is like really hard to grok and like it requires an abacus and it's like one of those ancient Avalon Hill war games type level of shit. But it's not none of that. It's very simple action selection, and it's just sort of that every action you take has like a small sequence of cascading knock-on effects is essentially. And then it's about, like scoring points by being in the right place at the right time and being generally like the first person to make a claim on some given thing or whatever. And it all just works and it flows very smoothly. There's not a lot of downtime between turns because, well, that's not true, actually. There is quite a bit of downtime between turns while your opponents are thinking through kind of like what that cascade is going to look like. But the thing is that because there's this follow ability in it as well, you're not exactly like not paying attention. You're thinking at least a little bit like, okay, what are they likely to do? Because if I can follow on that, that would be super powerful. It literally gives you like 3 times as many actions if you can effectively follow everyone else's stuff every round, right? The interaction is there. I don't know. Basically, there's not a lot to dislike about this game unless you hate looking up indexes periodically to figure out whether or not you should pick up that bonus tile or some other one. You hate
the color blue or something, yeah.
Or you hate the color blue because it's a very blue game.
More like Lisboa. It's not my
Basically,
best.
It's literally a game with a frowny Euro guy in a wig, like on the cover. 3 frowny Euro guys, in fact. I feel like the theme, the flavor, and the mechanics all gel really wonderfully. I mean, I'm glad I'm on this journey. This is a very promising start to the Lacerda maxing year.
Okay, nice. That was Lisboa from 2017. Fast Forward Fortress from 2017. That's a lot of F's. Sounds like Friedemann Friese, 2F spiel. And you would be right. I guess distributed by Stronghold in the US.
I think in the States, yeah.
So Fast Forward Fortress is part of Friedemann Friese's experiments in the Fast Forward series. I think there are 4 games in this series. Fear, Fortress, Flee, and Fortune. So the conceit of the Fast Forward games is that they are evolving games where you add cards every time you play them and sometimes remove cards. Very similar to his Fabled series. So it's almost legacy, but there's no actual ripping or stickers or changing. Like you could just reset it. It's just cards.
This one literally says it is a Fable game.
So I guess it's like a subcategory of the Fabled games.
Okay.
But the Fast Forward specifically, they do not have a rule book in the box. You open the deck and the top card says, here's how you go through the deck reading rules. Then you remove that card and then you have like the first rules for the game. And you're literally drawing from this deck, figuring out how the game plays as you play it. Which, that's a pretty clever and interesting conceit. Like, you don't have to read a rule book. You kind of just start playing. And you're at first you don't even know what stuff does. And you discover as you go. Fortress itself, without giving away too many spoilers, is kind of a try to see if you have the biggest army to take over the fortress. Whoever has the fortress at the end of the game wins. That's the general conceit that the game starts with. I'm going to pause there and not really reveal anything else about the game, just in case people want to have the experience of playing this game.
Okay.
So I think the concept itself is clever. I had heard that Fortress was one of the better ones. So that's why I specifically wanted to play Fortress. After playing Fortress, I feel like I was either the conceit was not executed upon or that I was lied to a little bit. And here's why. The whole learning the rules as you go, there's one card that's the third card you draw that has first of all, a huge wall of text to the point that they had to print it on 2 cards. And that's pretty much the rules of the game. After that, you get small ability modifications to the game, but I was expecting it to be more of a you learn as you go and more stuff gets added. I didn't play through the entire thing, but I did read through the stuff that we didn't get to. I think I played total 4 or 5 games or something. And if you go through the whole deck, it's 10 games. So that's the first thing. I just feel like I expected it to be an evolving game a bit more, or the rules were injected over time, but instead there was just a card that had most of the rules in it. Learn as you go, don't just sneak the rule book onto a card that's 3 cards deep into the deck.
Right. Yeah. It's not really living up to the idea.
It didn't deliver on the fast forward concept in my mind, or at least what I envision it to be. The second part is the actual Fabled concept. So we've talked about Sand on the podcast, and that's another Fabled game. I thought that one did it really well. I also have played Fabled Fruit, and I thought that game did the Fabled stuff really well. It's almost like a legacy game. Every time you play, you kind of have to understand what's been injected into the card pool and play around that. It's kind of like if you played Dominion, but you rotated 3 of the cards in the market out and randomly added 3 new ones, or even if it was a campaign and you tried to figure out the puzzle of what do I do now that this has changed slightly. That's cool and it works well. In Fortress, there's 2 reasons it works a little bit weaker. One is that the game is so simple that when you're adding stuff, it's sometimes just a number go up. It's almost like playing fishing, but you're playing 1 game of fishing over a sequence of 10 games. And that's fun in fishing because you're getting all of that in one go.
Right.
But like, imagine playing an entire game, and they're short, right? They're like 15-minute games. But imagine playing an entire game, and then you get a number that's like a 13 when the highest number was 10. You look at it and you're like, oh, okay. Like, you know, it's not, it's not this, it's neither fishing where you get it all in the game, nor is it the other Fabled games where you get much more exciting stuff that changes the game. So that's where I'm at with Fortress. I feel like the idea of Fortress is really cool, or the idea of Fast Forward. I just feel like Fortress was a little underwhelming. I don't think it's like bad. And, you know, it's such a small box and pretty cheap game that it's like worth it as an experiment. But I came out of it like feeling like it didn't really deliver on what it was telling me it was. So it's too bad. Yeah. I mean, nevertheless, I think Friese is just constantly coming up with stuff that feels really different from anything that's out there. And I really appreciate that about his designs.
Absolutely. I mean, I wonder if fishing came about somewhat because of this series.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, like fishing feels like the next progression, yeah.
He saw the potential, saw a way to make it even better. I'm curious.
Yeah. Fast Forward Fortress from 2017.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about another F sound game, Photograph. And another one from 2016. Well, yeah, from around the same time, right?
Yeah.
Another one from a decade ago, is what I'm trying to say. This is designed by Saashi, and the art is by Takako Takarai. They are a husband and wife duo, and this is published by Matagot. This is a strategic filler card game. The concept of the game is you are trying to get the perfect sequence of photographs throughout the day. But of course, getting the perfect picture requires things lining up just right. And so you are drafting cards from these center piles following certain restrictions and putting them into your hand. This is a game where you cannot reorder your hand. And so kind of like Bonanza, you're planting the pictures that you're taking basically and, you know, digging up pictures that you are planning to plant, quote unquote, in the future. But the caveat here is that once per turn, you get to take any card from your hand, anywhere in your hand, and put it all the way in the back of your hand. That's winding the film. And so it's literally just like, how do I mitigate this to, you know, fuck up as little as possible while trying to evenly sort of distribute the colors on the cards and get the numbers in the right sequences in order to get the most points while losing the least points, right?
Yeah. That's
Photograph. It's relatively simple, but weirdly hard, I think, in some ways to teach unless people are already pretty familiar with things like Bonanza. And I think even if they are familiar with Bonanza, the strategy of this is very different, and the vibes are, you know, just about sort of like tense drafting. It's like low on the interaction scale as well. However, of course, I did find myself partway through the game not only thinking about what card I needed, but like which card do I need on top, and between the cards that I could pick from, which one fucks with my opponents the most if I, you know, force them into picking what's left. So that's the only way you can really interact. But that doesn't matter that much because the game's breezy, quick, has this cute aesthetic. I don't know what this kind of art style would be called exactly, but it makes me think of like Rhythm Heaven games. Yeah,
it does have that kind of like flat with thick lines aesthetic that you see in Rhythm Heaven. It's a very delightful
European,
art style.
Like Japanese style. Like I don't know exactly where it comes from, but it's nice. Yeah, I think like the only thing this game maybe suffers from is like the theme is like maybe not like the best it could be to really try and get people to understand how it works. But I don't know that you really could have picked something much better. And it seems like it may have even been designed top down, even though I'm saying that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Why am I talking about this? Because I liked it. Like I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah. So these games are originally published under Saashi and Saashi in Japan before they get ported over in other countries. And the kind of the through line, my understanding, because I really haven't played any of these, unfortunately, which is kind of wild. But the Saashi and Saashi games, first of all, husband and wife duo. But on top of that, their characteristic is that they're very thinky games that have a very cozy vibe. That's their whole thing. It's like, oh, my brain's actually hurting, but it's such a chill theme and pretty I think that there are definitely some folks that are just like, they love this series of games and like they'll collect each and every one. And I get it. Like they like scratch a certain itch. I just can't speak to them. I just haven't played any. And I guess I'm curious with you, like after playing this, are you wanting to explore some of the other Saashi and Saashi games?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'd be very curious to see what else they've come up with, because I think I even went and like found their page and put Coffee Roaster, which is a much more recent
that's their like big one.
Made. Yeah. I think I put that on my want to play, because based on this, I'm definitely curious for sure. There you go. Photograph 2016. Check out the Saashi titles. I'll be looking up some of those myself right after all these Lacerdas.
Look at this board game. It's from 2016.
100 games to play before you die.
Okay, Kenny, it's time to talk about the 100 games that you're required by law to play before you turn 100 years old and or die, whatever comes first. Game number 70 on that list is Funkenschlag, or more well-known in the English-speaking world as Power Grid, from 2004. This is designed by Friedemann Friese. He's showing up a lot today. And published by Rio Grande Games. Kenny, why is this one on the list?
Power Grid, or as I like to call it, Power Frid, is a economic game where you do an auction to get these different power plants, and then you power a grid. It's part auction, part route building. I think the route building is reminiscent of, train games, I would say. Like, I would say both like Ticket to Ride and also like 18XX to a certain extent.
Like, I was going to say Wabash Cannonball, more like Cube Rails in a way.
Yeah. The funny thing is that, like, despite this game kind of like drawing from two rather complex systems, when it comes together, this game is like pretty accessible, I would say, and is also very popular. For a while, Power Grid was considered like one of those big greats. Like, I would say maybe the next step after like Ticket to Ride and Settlers of Catan and all that. It's like you play Catan and Ticket to Ride, and then you play Power Grid and Dominion. That was like level 2, which in hindsight is kind of wild, because I think Power Grid is still rather complicated and there's a lot of math and stuff.
Well, I have a hot take in a way. I think Catan is actually more complicated than people realize. I feel like Power Grid is simpler than Catan.
I don't know about that. I think they're rather around the same complexity. I still think Power Grid's more complex.
I think Catan has a friendlier game feel, but Power Grid is more like mechanical. Like, it's more... I think the most difficult thing about Power Grid is the admin of it. And that's just like, that's what the teacher has to figure out. Everything else is like, it's just number, like just make, bid, buy thing, power plant. Like, I don't know.
At the end of the day, this game is less on the list because of individual mechanisms or, what the game represents, more than the designer / publisher. Yeah, I mean, this isn't 2F Spiel, right? But I feel like other Power Grid stuff has been. But yeah, this is Friedemann Friese, right? This is the Friedemann Friese game. And then it's also here because I think it's an evergreen game.
Literally.
No pun intended.
I totally agree. It's basically like it's on this list by clout alone, almost.
Yeah. It's funny because for Friedemann Friese, I don't even know that this game represents what Friedemann Friese is known for that much. I think the exception is the way that cards get pulled into the bidding market. For those who aren't familiar, each card is numbered. They come in a certain order, but then the deck gets shuffled. When you reveal a card, it goes into the auctioning market in the spot that is furthest down, like basically in number order. So even if you get a really late game card, you potentially can get it at this time, but it's just very expensive and hard to access. This has been reused in games like Fayum and stuff like that Friedemann Friese has put out. But it's a really fascinating system for introducing randomness while also making it rather fair in terms of what the expected value is for a particular purchase. Yeah, that's the only Friedemann thing I think that is in here, really. But
the thing about this game is that for me, it was basically the jump out of Monopoly and Catan into the world of gaming. This was like one of the earliest games that I purchased outside of fucking Killer Bunnies from the boutique game store. I think what drew me to the game was the idea that turn order was determined by the game. The players can affect their turn order by basically the amount of wealth you have, if I remember correctly. that is not only a fascinating part of it, but like I taught this to so many people who like probably today would just be like, no, I'm not really much of a game head. It works, I feel like, in almost any audience, weirdly enough. Like, despite its headiness, it's very mathy. I honestly recommend using a calculator while playing this game just to make it feel easier. It should have come with one in the box, if you ask me. I think if they make a deluxe edition and they don't have small solar calculators, I'll be a little disappointed. Despite that, I think this game just like really has elegance and class in a certain way. I think that you mentioned it already with the power grid system, the way that the cards come out of the deck is so nice. It's so clean, the way it draws randomly, but still mitigates the extremes of that randomness in a way that doesn't completely get in the way.
And that's what he's known for. He's known for like devising these completely off the wall experiments in board gaming that sometimes hit really good and sometimes are like more interesting on paper than when you actually play them out. But you're always in for a treat with Friedemann Friese of just like, whoa, okay, I didn't think of doing that before in a board game.
Totally. And I mean, the illumination for me was these systems, all the interplay between the auctions and the way that like the price of the fuel sources is affected by their demand in the genuine market that is being created by what people are winning. I mean, just so much cool dynamism basically to it that I really like.
Yeah. That was Power Grid Funkenschlag from 2004.
All right, well, enough bullshit, enough yapping, enough nonsense. It's time to fucking quit all that game and time to get into the real meat and potatoes of this podcast, the part of the show that people come back week after week to listen to, and that is the main topic, the main idea. And this week, we're talking about games that make you sound like you're crazy. Like games that just literally, the words coming out of your mouth are like, what is he talking about? And there's a couple different things that could kind of mean. Do you have ideas already on this?
The very first thing that I thought of are games where there's like furries in them. Which I guess is like a larger blanket, like when there's a bunch of people like sitting around like stroking their chin and like thinking really intently, but then on the board there's like a very, very like either light or silly theme. I think that's a funny moment.
Yeah, this topic idea came to us by a friend of mine. Shout out Chris. Thanks for this idea. Because he talked about how when the game Trains by Hisashi Hayashi came out, he would like basically hold it up in front of him and like go around to people at the game store like, do you guys want to play Trains with me? Like, does anyone want to play Trains? Like, and he just thought you sounded like a 5-year-old, asking to play with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
And that just incidentally because of the name of the game.
There are just some games where like context really matters. And if you remove that context, well, it's like, it's like moments in TV shows when they get clipped and you're like, that's a crazy show. What's going on there? It's just that same thing, but like with board gaming in real life kind of thing. Yeah, I think Trains is a good example.
Trains is a great example. I'm sure there's like other ones. We were also recently, when I was at the board game convention, we went out to dinner at an Indian restaurant and we had just been playing Pandemic Legacy. And I think I may have talked about this on the episode where I talked about Pandemic Legacy. But basically, Mumbai had suffered some serious casualties in the last game. And we were like, man, if Mumbai hadn't fucked us like that, we would have been like, blah, blah, blah. And we were just talking.
No.
And I'm like, I'm realizing like as this is happening, I'm like, guys, we are in an Indian restaurant. We might need to like chill for a minute.
Yeah. There's another thing that I thought of with this topic. I know we're just kind of bouncing from thing to thing, but I think that's fine.
Sure. That's the conceit of this one.
When people ask like, oh, what are some of your favorite games? There's always this moment where you recontextualize the games you like before you present them to them. And you're just thinking like, wow, there are so many ways I could say this where I either sound so dumb or like I'm not going to be able to explain this. Yeah, I like these games where you go around and you get cubes, and the cubes, they turn into other cubes, and those cubes turn into numbers, and then the number goes up, and it's just like, and you're like looking at this person that's giving you the like doy face, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm just going to go in my, you're like at a party, you're just like, I'm just going to go drink my drink in the corner and be that one meme. They don't understand the value of engine building while everybody else is dancing and having a good time. Like, there's definitely that moment of just there are ways to execute this right.
It's like one of the funniest things, and we've complained about this before for sure, but just when people who don't play games and then they meet you and you're like, oh yeah, like I play a lot of board games, and they're like, oh yeah, like what's your favorite games? It's like, I can say them, but like, what is it going to mean to you? Like, it's just going to be words.
Yeah.
Android Netrunner, like, does that do anything for you? Does that help you at all? Understand me? It's just a bad question to ask.
Some games are just cool. Like, I think you can sell certain games really easily. Other games, it's like either it's hard to even come up with a way to describe them, or it's hard to demonstrate why it would be appealing to somebody who's like really into things.
Like Power Grid.
Yeah, like Power Grid. Power
Grid's
really hard, yeah.
You tell someone like, oh yeah, one of my favorites is Power Grid. It's, you literally are a... I don't even know what you are, actually. You're just someone that owns power plants, mogul. And they're just kind of like already like looking for a way out of the conversation immediately. Well, I like others too. I mean, like Gazebo is a very new game, and I understand it's a re-implementation of like a game about the Qin dynasty. But like, imagine trying to explain Gazebo. You're just like, hey, you draw dominoes, and I guess you're building like the best patio in the world for some reason. Like, I don't fucking know.
Abstracts
like,
are
your
hard.
Patio can eat other patios.
Abstracts just fall into a blanket of like, it's kind of like chess.
Yeah.
You just leave it at that. Yeah, that's how you talk about it.
My favorite way to describe some of those is like, it's like chess if it was checkers.
Yeah. I do think another funny moment is when you say something out loud, but it's like loud enough that somebody else hears it that's not at your current game. And this isn't even just like non-gamers. You're like, oh, you took the last donkey. You're like playing La Granja or something. Like, there's just things like that are like very funny out of context too. A lot of it's context, I feel like. Why do you need so much piss? Give me the piss.
Yeah, the perfect example. But like, I was just seeing this, I think yesterday, the video where it was like your POV, your boyfriend is playing, Magic the Gathering and stuff. It's just like, yeah, I'll tap your angel. And it's just kind of like, it's like, when are you going to pop your Steve? Like stuff like that happens.
Yeah, a lot of lexicon,
The meta, We've talked about this with Netrunner too, right? Or have we even really dived into it?
The deeper you are in a game, the more you start to like acquire the lexicon and use it in ways. Sometimes ironically, but like...
It always fascinates me. And I'm sure like etymologists are also like licking their chops or something. When they like walk into a board game convention, they hear people just being like, oh my God, it milled like blah, blah, blah. And it, rezzed the other thing. And I'm just going to sack and blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just... All these words that I'm having trouble coming up with right now that only make sense in the broader context of what you're talking about. And it can just sound so delightfully absurd.
This even extends past individual games to just like the lexicon for board gaming. How people just are casually like, what BGG is, when like a majority of people who play board games are not familiar with what BGG is. But, we're so diehard that we're just like, oh, this has like a BGG weight of blah, blah, blah. And people are like, how heavy it is? And we're like, yeah, how heavy? And they're like, this game feels pretty light. And they're like, oh, no, Motaina is very heavy. And then we have to explain it's like complexity, But also just like people going like, my shelf of shame. That shit is probably so weird to other people,
They're just like, why is he ashamed of his shelf?
Yeah.
Ha! That sound effect.
One that I've actually gotten chuckles about that I don't think is funny, but apparently is funny to normies, is like size of collection. I don't know if you've gotten this one too, but I've gotten people that come over that are like, whoa, you got a lot of games there. And I have like 120 games. And they're like, whoa, that's a lot of games. And I was like, you should see the other person, This is a small collection compared to some people. And then they go like, you hear this guy? He says this is a small collection. I only have Rummy Cube and Phase 10, I don't know what to say to, like, to me, that one's like not funny, but apparently it's like funny to them,
No, I get this all the time too. Cause I just go like, I'm into board games. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, how many games do you have? Oh, like a little over 100. And they're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're crazy for that. And it's
You
like,
must be rich.
It's like, brother, like, yeah, the videos I see, some
it's all
people's
relative,
basements.
right? Because I've definitely talked to people with a 500 game collection that are like, oh yeah, but I don't have 1,000,
Right.
So
there's like, I'm normal. I don't have 1,000.
What do you think is the median collection for like somebody who has a BGG account? I'm gonna say it's lower than we think. I'm gonna say it's like 80 is my guess.
I think 80 is a reasonable guess, but it kind of depends on if you're like excluding everyone who has like literal 0, like if they have never even logged.
Yeah,
their
excluding people who don't log their collection.
The average,
well, not average, because I think average makes it weird, but median I would say is
the median
80.
collection of a Board Game Geek user. 80 sounds realistic. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little over 100. I think there's a lot of like small games. I feel like this is even like a newish trend.
There's
it's like
also,
to make like
there's a weird bias where once you start tracking, you probably have at least 30. So that brings it up in general for excluding the zeros. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting, this is kind of a how many doors are there in the world kind of question.
Yeah. I'd say slightly over 100, I'm willing to guess. Because I feel like if I'm sitting here feeling like my collection's on the small end and it is just a bit over 100, then I wonder if like we're just kind of like on average, we all just own more games than ever in a way.
I think the average BGGer owns more games nowadays than they did 10 years ago. But
yeah, exactly.
This is like, I'm literally like source my head. Like,
yeah.
I don't have
I just made it up.
Source, I made it up.
If anyone wants to like get out there and verify this for us, do the rats off to you.
Use that sweet BGG API.
Yeah, and then so the last kind of category of game that I think comes up for this are games where like saying weird things is actually part of the game itself.
Yes.
I know I also have talked a lot about clips that I've seen recently. I don't know why they've been so relevant, but the one that came up just yesterday, and I posted this in the Discord, was, of course, Northern Lion. And I don't even know do you know what game that was?
I have no clue. No.
In this clip, he goes like, he's talking to his friend Corey. He's like, does piss mean anything to you? And he's like, it does, but I hear conflicting things about piss. And he goes like, who told you about piss? And then he's like, okay, I heard about piss from this guy. And he's just like, okay, but he must be lying then because he told me this other thing. And then Corey's like, well, we got to find the real shit. Maybe it's poop. And he's like, oh my God, you're a genius. And it's like, the entire exchange is like so bizarre, but it's like it's all contextual, in the game. Like it makes perfect sense to them to say all these words, but like it's so funny as an observer with no clue like what exactly is going on. It's like someone knows a code word, and they don't, and the idea that it could be piss is like really funny.
There's a game in Japan that came out recently called Gibberers, and I think there's a similar game called like da or something, if anybody knows. Yeah, these are both new game alerts, but like they're all about creating those funny moments because you're literally attributing words in your native language to syllables that don't mean anything. So you're like,
right,
hot is gunk and yes is bee, and people like are trying to figure out what the other things are on the, so you have boba on the table, and boba is bicycle, and so they're like gunk bee, and you're like bee, and like
you're
like
right.
Literally the whole table is just like yelling these things, and you're adding them to your dictionary as you go until you can start to like explain things like nuclear fission. The difficulty ramps as your vocabulary develops, but it's just funny because at a certain point you have quite a few words and you're just like stringing these things together. I think that's like, those games are really funny.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and I think there's a growing trend of these perhaps. Like I've seen like Smosh playing, there was a similar game where it was like they had to categorize everything based on different sounds, essentially. It wasn't really even words, if I remember right. There's a way in which it's kind of made for YouTube or made for virality, perhaps. But I enjoy like going viral in public is basically what I'm trying to get at. Like you go out to the burger bar and like everyone's hanging out and you're like, let's play this. And then like the entire room's like now looking at you guys because you're going like, you know, B card, B is Gunk, gone, Gugus. Like, you know, and you're just like, ah.
You sounded like you had a fedora on and you were like, picture memes? I'm more of a flash mob person myself.
Yeah, there you go. I sort of enjoy, I know you hate doing anything in public, basically, but I really enjoy like drawing everyone's attention in a weird way.
I don't mind embarrassing myself. I don't like inconveniencing others. If the cringe is just me and it's funny, I'm fine with that. If the cringe is at the expense of or involving someone else, that's where I draw the line.
Okay. You're like, I won't tell the wait staff a joke because they might not think I'm funny.
Or they might feel obligated to laugh and actually be uncomfortable because of the situation.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. Don't forget to get out there, BoardGameGeek.com, and find the 20th Annual Golden Geek Awards. We'd really love to be nominated. Please vote for our nomination. Once we get nominated, you don't have to care anymore. But we'll leave a link in the description for that. Thank you, everybody who listens to this show, and thank you especially to Michael, Tyler, Devon, and Josh of the Boise RainBeaus for your cool segue music. I want to say thank you to Bonehouse for letting us use your song Raw as our opening theme.
If you're loving the cast, share with a friend on Reddit, on BGG, nominate us. You can also reach out directly at shelfstablecast@gmail.com. All this and more in the show notes. And if you like what we're doing and want to make more of it happen, consider subscribing on Patreon. You'll get bonus content and Discord.
Kenny, next week, I don't think we have to pick a specific topic.
We got a special guest.
We do got a special guest, although we did have a topic, didn't we? The social boundary.
Yeah, it's just a game.
It's just a game, bro.
Yeah, chill. It's just a game.
What the hell, guys? It's just a game. How about that?
Ah.
Little hint for you.
That was good. Okay. All right.
We'll see you then.
Yep.